Nice meeting you, brother.
We don't believe.
If you don't believe, you are entitled to the opinion.
That's still entitled to my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's not always the way.
Why?
Because if you don't
Yeah.
believe,
I agree with what you said.
Okay, peace on earth.
I agree, yeah. Except it's not.
Peace on earth. Yeah. Sorry, brother. What were you saying?
no, but the argument is that if
Sorry.
some people say if you don't believe, then there's an argument, isn't it? That's why we have a lot of arguments on around this way, because one religion is saying going that way, and the other religion is saying going that way.
That's
so
true.
if you don't believe, what happens? What do you gain by believing?
You see, you are absolutely right, brother. You know, when I was talking to the brother, I told him I'm very uncomfortable with words like religious, belief, faith, because they have connotations which are not entirely appropriate in the context of a discussion. Yeah. So, for example, when we say somebody believes one thing, another one believes another, my first point of call would be, why are they using the word believe? And on what evidential basis have they established what they believe? Because we, in our daily lives, you will notice, brother, in all our lives, we do everything very logically.
Can I ask, you're Muslim?
Yes.
Right. So you believe in a certain, well, I don't know if to call it religion, but you believe in certain
I believe,
things about
like I said, I'm uncomfortable with the word believe, but what I do say is that I have established evidentially that Islam is the message that has come.
You can't be uncomfortable. Why should you be uncomfortable with the belief?
No, the word believe, I'm with the word, because you see, belief is subjective.
Yeah.
And it is something I cannot test. I cannot test belief. Yes? What I can do is investigate what has led you to that belief. Because logic is dictating to me, brother, that my evidence that I have looked at has convinced me of my position. And in order for me to arrive at that position, I needed to address the evidence. So my logical starting point is the evidence. Let's assess the evidence. And that evidence should establish whether your belief is entirely correct or not.
So what is your evidence that caused you to believe in what you believe in?
Primarily,
because what I gather that belief is when you die, not when you are alive. It is your belief in when you die, and that is what's confusing.
What is confusing?
When you die, why should you have that belief? Why should you believe in something when you die? That is...
I don't understand. Are you saying, why does somebody believe that they are going to die?
No, they're not that they're going to die. It's the after death.
They are after death?
Yes, it's the after death that they're
Oh, the after, you mean after they die?
After they die.
Right. What is wrong with that?
Well, what is wrong with that is that we have no real evidence that when a person dies, I have a brother.
Yes.
He died, what, 10, 15 years ago?
Okay.
And there were only two of us, me and him, in this country.
Right, I see.
Right. I believe, and I'm asking him, why, when he died, why didn't he come back and says to me, Ricky, it's good down there or it's bad down there?
Yes, yeah.
That is what I don't understand.
Right, I understand what you mean.
When is he going to come back and tell me?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Now you see, you're absolutely right about that, but the question is, you ask yourself this, your dear brother, he left us, he passed away.
Yeah.
Why has he not come back to tell you, is what you are wondering. Yes? The question you have to ask yourself is this, is there a possibility that the answer may lie somewhere else?
The answer, the answer is that he will never ever come back.
Okay, but no, he may never come back, but that still does not answer what it is like on the other side. That's the question that ought to be answered for you to establish whether it is good or it is bad. And like I say, how do we know? You know, there are mediums and spirits, yes? They claim that they can talk to the dead.
Do you believe that?
No, again, you see the word belief, why I'm uncomfortable. They claim. Now, how do you evidentially disprove their claims?
Because I believe common sense.
Right, common sense will tell you one thing.
But that's common sense is a belief,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but common sense sometimes...
Common sense, huh?
Yeah, right? So, sometimes that common sense can deceive us. For example, if a few weeks ago we had an apparition appear at a hole, yeah? It walked through and just went straight through the wall.
A what?
An apparition, you know what we call a ghost.
Yeah.
It walked through and the video camera, the CCTV picked it up. Now, the specialists in photography and video had a look at it and they can't explain what it is. They looked at possible light effect or something, but they can't explain it. Now,
why you give it a name?
Who?
You give it a name.
No, I said an apparition. You said what? So I gave the nearest meaning that common sense allows us to understand, which is a ghost. Okay? The point I'm making is that that apparition, whatever it was, defied common sense.
But doesn't that, by giving that word apparition,
yes,
doesn't that define that thing that you're talking about?
Okay, let us assume we don't give it that. We have to call it something, don't we? Common sense dictates that you have to give it a name. Exactly. Okay. And the word apparition just means something which at this point in time we cannot really explain. Okay? But it is no.
Make it clear for me.
Yeah, to make it clear for you, because what is a ghost?
I don't believe in ghosts.
That doesn't matter. Belief is a different thing. But to discussing it, we need to understand what me and you are agreeing on. I use the word apparition. You said what? Now, if I continued using the word without explaining to you, we would be at odds. So I had to bring some common denominator between me and you, and the word ghost.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The fact is that you give it a name.
No, I didn't give it a name.
But you said
we have to. Yeah,
but how does he know that because when he keeps on talking, I will understand what he's saying. There is certain words that you don't have to express for you to understand. You just listen to the context.
Okay, understandable.
Right, and then you will then start, well, I'm sure this is what he means.
That is fine, no problem at all. I understand what you mean. Okay, I will revert to the word apparition.
Yeah.
Okay, so the apparition is seen. But
because when you said apparition, I had a feeling I knew what you were on about, so you didn't have to explain ghost.
Well, I do apologize, because when I used the word apparition and you looked confounded, I then further went and explained, and I did ask, do you know what an apparition is?
Right.
So
I never heard the word before.
not to worry, that's fine.
But when you explain it,
yes,
by saying that this thing went through the wall, and no one could detect it, then I put that word to what you say.
Ghost.
A ghost.
Exactly. That's why I use the word.
Right.
Common denominator.
Exactly.
But the point is this. It's not the issue of the apparition. The issue is that there are many things which common sense can be deceived by. The question therefore arises this. No matter where you are, even after you die, yes? How do you know whether these mediums who claim to talk to the dead are doing a valid job or not? If I understand your position, he will never come back, he will never communicate with you. Well, if that is the case, then any medium who comes to you is trying to sell you something that is not true. Or will you think, wait a minute, suppose he were to tell you or she were to tell you things that only you and your brother knew. How do you explain it?
This is what, when you say that whether it's true or not, people say, look, if I get to, it's a nap where people sort of read your mind. I mean, read
your mind, yes, but for me to be able to tell you confidently that, you know, on a particular date, you and your brother were sat in a room and you discussed X, Y, and Z, cannot be done.
Without asking you any questions.
Without asking you any questions, that cannot be done. But the question is this, brother. You see, the way I look at it, I am confidently asserting that every human being has a right to know what the truth is. And I am making it very plain and clear that in totality, the message contained in the Quran is the truth that every human being must make an effort in understanding. Because all these questions that you are asking, I can confidently assert, will be answered by the Quran. Have you got a copy, brother?
No, I've got a copy.
You have got a copy.
Yes, I have.
I would kindly ask you to actually read it. Go to the back of the, you know, the index page,
Yeah.
and it talks about death. It talks about afterlife. Just read the relevant verses.
And you know,
We are back in 2 weeks. Maybe we can meet up again.
and it's so confusing.
What is confusing?
The book.
I'll tell you what, brother.
Quran.
If,
It is so
right. Well, I'll tell you one
To
thing,
me,
brother.
because it doesn't make sense. And when one person, we got Allah, then we got the prophets, and why is it so confusing to not only to people like myself, if that prophet, why is that Allah or why is God, what I would say?
Okay, can I
Why
just ask
can't
you-
he
yeah,
come
okay.
down and say, look, this is all confusing.
Right, I appreciate what you are saying, but can I just ask you, and this is off the top of your head, can you give me one example from the Quran which confused you?
Adam is the problem.
One example of the prophet,
Then there was a reaction.
not only confusing to me, I see it here every Sunday.
Fine, but can you give me one example of confusion?
No, I can't give you one example.
You just said there are many, it's confusing.
It is confusing.
Surely there must be something you can remember off the top of your
I'm
head.
talking about, you know, they talk about marriage, parts of marriage where a woman who believes it is better who has no choices, and that is in the chapters. I think it's 1, 2, 4, something like that. In the beginning, when it's talking about a slave girl and an intelligent person, and they said they would prefer to marry a slave girl as against an intelligent person, because the intelligent person is going to challenge the religion. A slave girl isn't going to.
And that is what the Quran says.
That is what.
And you can confidently state here for the record that that is what you read in the Quran.
That is my belief of the.
No, I didn't
reading of
ask you
it.
about the belief. Did you actually read that
I
statement?
thought I interpret it that way. Put it
All
that
right, I see. So you interpreted a verse which you haven't told me actually what it says.
way. Well, I can't tell you in.
Right,
I can't
okay.
tell you.
Well, I can
but bring the
confidently-
Quran, and I will show it to you.
Can you just bring the Quran, brother? The Quran. Have they all gone? Oh, sorry. Have you got one, please? Tell the brother just. No. Here, the brother has got one. The brother has got. Yeah. That's fine. That's better. I'm sure he doesn't mean the Arabic.
Your brother can help you today.
Yeah, he's gonna help me, my brother. Yeah.
Your brother's gonna
No, I'm going. I'm not staying.
Your brother's gonna help you. This is your back. This is your.
I'm going.
This is your champion.
I'm just
This is not the one that I've been reading.
Okay, what we'll do? Thank you, brother. What we will do, brother?
And that is what's
do
confusing.
you regularly come
Because
here?
I'm sure-
Brother, no. You regularly come here?
Sometimes, yes.
Right. Okay. We are back, God willing, in 2 weeks on the 31st of May. Yeah. If you can locate that and bring it with you.
Bring what with you?
Yeah.
You have to bring
And
the
then
Quran.
we will have
You
a
to
look.
Bring the Quran.
Yes.
Yeah, but nobody has the Quran. Yeah, but nobody has the Quran. So how can you bring it with you?
Okay. You are entitled to your opinion as well.
No, it's
but
not
if you
opinion,
can
it's historical facts.
entitled to that opinion as well.
It says it in
Okay.
your books. The Quran
Brother.
was written on palm leaves, bones, and skins. Nobody has
I
produced
believe
it.
that.
Nobody has produced it. So where's the
You
Quran?
believe that?
I believe
Right,
because
Where's
excellent.
the Quran? It's on bones, palm leaves and on skins. So where's the skin and bones? No one's got it. So where's the Quran?
This is why it's
Nobody
so
has it.
confusing. That's why I was
Nobody
saying
has the Quran.
Now it will be confused.
No, but it's true.
Right.
There's it in their
Listen.
books.
Listen.
Yeah. So where is it? So where is it? I want
You
to
look
know.
South Korean though. All right. Are you Chinese? Oh well. Well, look. Basically, you see, brother.
I'm going to check. Right, the Quran was written during Muhammad's time on branches of palm leaves, stones, papers, and shoulder bones of animals. Can somebody show me the
Okay.
bones?
Where is
Now,
that written?
listen.
When did you write that?
Islamic website.
Right,
There
listen.
it is. Islamic websites.
Listen,
This
brother.
is the history of the Quran. Where are the bones?
Listen, brother. You see, again, specifically here, you made a statement, okay? It in the form of a claim. So what I asked you is, okay, what you do, bring it in 2 weeks. You can show me what you are saying. As far as the brother's opinion is concerned,
facts.
that's a separate issue which can be discussed. But at this moment in time, you had made a claim about marriage. Yeah, I am saying, look, in 2 weeks I'm back here. You bring that Quran because you are comfortable with that one, and then
There is
you
no
show me
Quran
that
for you
verse.
to bring. There is no real Quran for you to bring because he hasn't got it. You have nobody here has the Quran. How can you bring it? You haven't got it.
You speaking for him, he said he's got it, and you say he
He
hasn't
doesn't
got
mind me speaking for him. He doesn't mind me speaking for him.
Right? Okay.
it. But
Let's.
he said he's got it home.
Yeah.
So how do you know this at all?
Yeah.
No, I have the book. I have a book. See?
So you see now?
The book
No,
of
he's
what?
not
No, he says the Quran.
No,
Have you
he said,
got?
I'm telling you what the book says. It
written by
says
Right, brother.
Quran.
Hello.
No,
Brother,
you have a
brother.
Quran.
Written by the Chinese man in China.
I have a book that says the Quran.
There you
Says
are.
the
The one
Quran.
that the
Now,
guy says.
You have a
now look
book
at
that
this.
says the Quran, but it's
Yeah.
not the Quran, is it?
Right, now look
It
at this.
says
Yes.
the Quran on it.
Here is the difference.
in China
Okay.
as well.
If you have got a book that says it is the Quran, for the conversation we are having, you have no choice but to rely on that. Okay. If you want to prove the fallacy that he is committing right now, that's
The fallacy. It's a fact.
it's my opinion. That is also something we can consider after. But at this moment in time, you made a claim. When I asked you,
Okay,
you
let's
said,
move on from his claim. Okay, you're gonna bring it next week?
okay, no, in 2 weeks.
Okay, he's gonna bring it
On
in
the
2 weeks. Okay,
31st.
let's move on.
Okay,
What's next one?
you must bring
He's
it.
in 2 weeks next.